Hey everybody, welcome to Packlight, where we talk about food, travel, and life adventures. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Mona, and today is episode 2 of Packlight, where we will be discussing about the tips of your first Taiwan travel. So, just to share with you, Taiwan was the first ever out of the country trip that I've been to. And I've been to Taiwan for 3 times already. Let me share with you the different reasons why I highly encourage people to visit Taiwan. And I also ask people who haven't really tried to go out of the country to pick Taiwan as their first ever out of the country trip. So the reason why I keep suggesting Taiwan is because of their rich culture. You'll see how they preserve their historical landmarks, how important it is to them, as well as their preference to have a lot of parks in the city. So unlike here in the Philippines, I think we only have a handful of parks within Metro Manila. But in Taipei alone, they have more than 10, if I'm not mistaken. And there are a lot of greenery in comparison to our country. It's very different. It's a very different experience. Next is the food. So, as a budget traveler, I prefer to eat in carinderias, in convenience stores, and I highly recommend Taiwan because they have a lot of those, especially night markets. Next is they are very first-timer friendly, especially when it comes to the transportation system. So, magugulat ka kasi sobrang efficient ng transportation nila, especially yung MRTs. They have a lot of MRT lines na we can distinguish by color. Tapos, minsan nagkakabit-kabit yung mga platform. So, kailangan mo mag-transfer from one platform to another. So, it can be overwhelming at first, but as long as you refer to the train map, makikita mo kung saang route ka pwedeng lumipat or kung saang train station ka pwedeng lumipat para mapuntahan mo yung kailangan mong puntahan. At the same time, their buses are also efficient most of the time, not all the time, per my experience. Merong mga chances na may delays yung pagdating ng bus, especially since traffic heavy din sa Taiwan kahit papano. Not the same as here in Manila, pero may traffic pa din. So, may mga delays sa bus, but not as much. And yung mga locals nila can converse in English, and meron ding mga menu sa mga restaurant and even sa mga karinderya na naka-English. So, hindi ka masyadong mahihirapan sa pagpili ng pagkain. If ever lang na wala silang English menu, pwede ka naman gumamit ng Google Translate para makausap mo sila. Every route can be navigated using Google Maps as well. So, sobrang dalang ng chances na maligaw ka. And then lastly, it's very cheap in comparison to other Asian countries like Singapore and Hong Kong. Cheap yung accommodation, cheap yung transportation, cheap yung food. So, since we have mentioned how cheap it is in Taiwan, let me share with you the expenses. So please keep in mind that the figures that I'm going to share is just an estimate. So iba-iba kasi tayo ng type ng expenses or iba-iba yung mga priorities natin when it comes to budgeting and when it comes to computing your expenses. So you can use what I'm going to share as your ballpark figure, and you can just adjust depending on your preference. But before sharing the numbers, I'd like to share how I divide the expenses for my trips. So these are the types of expense that I keep in mind. Number one are the pre-departure expenses. So these are the expenses that I would like to complete before ako lumipad papunta dun sa country na pupuntahan ko. It is very important that I complete and pay all of the pre-departure expenses before I fly. Next is yung pocket money or yung perang gagamitin ko for my entire stay doon sa country na pupuntahan ko. And then lastly is yung extra or yung money na pwede kong gamitin sa purchase ng mga pasalubong or if I want to go shopping. Okay, so let's start with the pre-departure expenses muna. So as I've mentioned, these are the expenses that I require myself to pay or complete before my actual flight. So these are, number one, yung flight tickets. So it's very important for me to pay muna yung ticket ko. And then, my accommodation or if I am traveling with a group, yung accommodation namin as a group. SIM card or Wi-Fi, depende kung ano yung mas preferred. And then, travel insurance. So, this is optional, but I highly encourage everyone to avail kasi it's not that expensive din naman. And at least, insured ka kahit na nasa ibang bansa ka for the length of your stay. And then the travel tax, which is mandatory to be paid by Filipinos going abroad. And then any tour na gusto kong i-avail. Sometimes, included dito sa pre-departure expenses, yung mga gusto kong i-book through Klook or through KKday. For example, if I will be purchasing a high-speed rail ticket, so I include that in my pre-departure expense. So, ang bottom line is, pre-departure expense are the expenses that you want to complete before your flight. So, one of the reasons why I separate this from my pocket money is because I really don't have the luxury of paying everything ng isang bagsakan. So, I make a schedule kung aling mga pre-departure purchases or expense ang pwede kong kunin for, let's say, a month or two. And then after I completely pay that off, saka ako mag-a-avail ng another pre-departure purchase. Next naman is yung pocket money and any extra expense that I would like to. So, in this scenario, if I were to stay in Taiwan for 4 days, this will be the computation of my pocket money. So for my transportation for the entire 4-day stay, it's 1,500 per person. This is in peso. And then for food, I will set a budget of 1,000 pesos per day, per person again. And then finally, I will set around 4,500 as my extra or pang shopping or pambili ng pasalubong. So my estimate for the 4-day stay pocket money plus extra is around 10,000 pesos. So if we compute that doon sa ating sample na pre-departure expense, which I estimate to 15,000 pesos, plus itong 10,000 ng pocket money plus extras, pumapatak na I can prepare 25,000 pesos for a 4-day stay in Taiwan. And even then, yung 25,000 na yon is just an estimate. Pwedeng mas mababa pa doon yung kakailanganin mo or pwedeng mas tumaas doon. Depende sa type of expense na gagawin mo. So for example, pwede siyang bumaba in a sense na hindi kayo pumunta sa maraming lugar or let's say in a day instead of 5 tourist spots, 3 lang yung napuntahan nyo. So, ibig sabihin, yung pamasahe ninyo na supposedly for 5 tourist spots, mababawasan siya. Or let's say na hindi ka kumain sa fast food restaurants. You just prefer na kumain sa karinderya and your meal per day only costs you 500 pesos. So definitely, mas bababa yung magagamit mo for your pocket money. Or let's say, you really don't want to buy any pasalubong or you really don't want to go shopping. So, yung 4,500 supposedly na for extra mo, hindi mo siya magagamit. If isa ka sa mga nakatagal dito sa section ng video na to, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and to hit the notification bell para ma-notify ka whenever I drop videos like this one. Okay, so now, i-check naman natin kung saan best magstay kapag ikaw ay pupunta ng Taiwan. So, if you are a first-timer na pupunta ng Taiwan or if this is your first time going to Taiwan, most likely you will use our local airlines. So, if you are using Cebu Pacific, Philippine Airlines, or even AirAsia, and your destination is in Taoyuan or Taoyuan International Airport, ang pinakamalapit na city kung saan pinakamagandang magstay is Taipei. So, sa Taipei kasi, nandun yung Taipei Main Station. So, ito yung pinaka-central station kung saan nagkakabit-kabit yung ibang mga colors ng MRT. And it's also one of the best locations to stay kasi mas madaling pumunta sa MRTs and then go to wherever you want or you need to go. Take this map for example. Kung makikita mo yung square na medyo transparent, yung nasa may gitna, yun yung Taipei Main Station. And merong other stations sa palibot niya. Like yung Siemens Station, National Taiwan University Hospital, Chiang Kai-shek Shandao Temple, Zhongshan, yan. So, anywhere near those stations, pwede ka maghanap ng Airbnb or hotel. Basta ang rule of thumb natin is kapag ikaw ay magbubook ng Airbnb or whatever accommodation na gusto mo, see to it that it is very near a train station. Kasi it's easier na sumakay ng train station and then lumipat sa ibang platform instead of maglakad ka ng sobrang layo para lang makapunta sa train station.
Okay, so using the train stations as our basis kung saan tayo pipili ng lugar, kung saan tayo magsistay, I highly suggest that you use either Airbnb or Agoda or whichever hotel booking website or service you prefer. For me, whenever I go to Taiwan, I use Airbnb instead of Agoda because I find it relatively cheap, especially if I'm going to Taiwan in a group of four. Pero if you will be more than four, medyo mahirap maghanap ng listing sa Airbnb that can accommodate a big group. Sa Agoda naman, if I will be visiting na dalawa lang kami, I can find a cheap hotel in Agoda, or if you just prefer staying in a hotel versus in an Airbnb listing, then it's up to you. So I'll be demonstrating both Airbnb and Agoda. So I'm not sure if some of you doesn't have any experience in booking either. So anyway, I normally do this using the app, but since I am currently in my laptop, I just searched for the Airbnb website and then input where I wanted to stay. So in this scenario, I have specified that I want to stay in the Simanding area, that's near Seaman Station, this one. And my travel dates is for 4 days, so February 26 to March 1, 2025. And I've selected that this is for 4 guests. So let's say, apat kami na pupunta ng Taiwan. So una, hanap ako ng listing malapit sa train station. So this is the train station. Malalaman mong train station siya because of the icon. And these are the different exits. So I see here that there's a cheap one, itong 3782. I can click on this and then just look at the listing first. If I feel like okay siya for me, and also check the reviews if okay yung reviews, then I'll consider it as one of the listings that I can book. Siyempre, kailangan natin i-check yung price kung magkano siya. So, if it's gawin na nating 13,000. That's for the entire 4-day stay na. So sabihin na natin na 13,000 divided by 4 people for 4 days, pumapatak siyang 813 pesos per person. So not bad na. So if I feel like parang yun yung ballpark figure ko in booking for an accommodation, so hahanap ako ng similar price. So this is 3782. So pwede rin siguro to, itong 3872. Basta not anything above it na. I think meron pang isa dito. Ito, si 3782. Yan. So if I try to look at this listing, it's somewhere in the same price range. Yan. So if you're traveling with a group, kailangan nyo pag-usapan kung magkano yung magiging budget ninyo. Same with Agoda. So again, I normally do this using the app, but if you're using desktop, then just search for the Agoda website. And then same, input nyo lang where you want to stay. Yan, Simending, February 26 to March 1 for 4 adults and then 1 room. And then you can click on search on map para makikita mo kung aling mga listings yung malapit doon sa train station. Okay. Eto, gusto ko na to, si Snoopy na listing. Before ko siya i-book, hanapin ko muna yung estimate na location niya. So, sa Airbnb, hindi sila nagbibigay ng exact location. It's just an estimate location. So, sabi dito, it's near Hanjong Street, corner MA Street. So, I'll go to Google Maps. Then, I'll find Hanjong Street in Taipei. Yan. So, nandito daw siya. Hanjong Corner MA Street. So, ito. Nandito malapit yung Snoopy na listing. So, what I'll do is I'll just scout the place. If there is a malapit na 7-Eleven. So, dito, may 7-Eleven dito sa may Starbucks. Ayun. Can you see it? It's there. Yan. May 7-Eleven. There should be another one near here. This is the Simending area. It's the exact location of the walking district kaya ang daming tao. But anyway, magkakadikit yan. May Family Mart pa dyan banda. So not a bad place to stay. Additionally, Simanding area is also one of the tourist spots na pinupuntahan. So, yan. Not a bad place. So, yan. So, if I feel like okay na yung place, I've scouted it already, then I'll just ask my friends if okay sa kanila yung amount. And then once everything is set, saka ko siya ibobook.
So before I end this video, I'd like to give a reminder to everyone na I am no expert. Hindi po ako eksperto pagdating sa pagpunta sa ibang bansa. Meron lang akong experience and I just do my research. And yun din ang maipapayo or mabibigay kong suggestion sa inyo is to do tons of research. Ang dami pong sources na pwede niyong pagkunan ng information. Merong TikTok, merong YouTube, merong Google, pwede ka rin mag-Reddit. May mga Facebook pages na nagbibigay ng suggestion or advice for travelers in a specific country. Even OFW na mga pages dun sa countries na yon, sometimes sinasalihan ko na kasi they also give great suggestions for travelers. So, marami pong sources. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope this video inspired you to pack light and savor your own adventures. Until next time, see you in the next video. Safe travels!